Good evening, all. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, later.
Hear you.
Okay, good. Now it's no, okay, 29 people now. So I will start the presentation. And in the second session, group 1 and group number 2 will present. Okay, let me share slide first. Okay, can you see my slide now? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, now let me start. And if I talk so fast, please don't forget you just interrupt me and tell me, okay? Okay, now today we are going to study about the impact of IR 4.0 on economy and business. This is the contents of the lecture today. First, we will talk about the impact of IR 4.0 on economy, which after we discuss the impact on growth, employment, the nature of work. And the second point is the impact of IR 4.0 on business, and the author focus on consumer expectations, data enhanced products, and the last one, collaborative innovation. Okay, so in the areas that are affected by IR 4.0, including existing political, economic, and social models, one of the biggest impact that will likely result from a single force is empowerment. Here is meaning that the author would like us to think that all the impact, both negative and positive, of IR 4.0 depends on the collaboration between each stakeholder. Like for example, the relationship or collaboration between government and citizens, relationship between enterprises and employees, relationship between stakeholders and customer, and relationship between developed and poor country. To make in this sense, for example, like in the previous session that I have mentioned about assumption that nowadays customer can also be the producer, meaning that the customer can give any feedback or comment online on the website of any company, let's say restaurant. However, if the restaurant owner does not take into account the customer comments or feedback and don't improve their service or products or food here, meaning that the impact of the platform economy, let's say that the website or the technology or the internet does not improve any service that provided by the restaurant owner, because the restaurant owner does not take customers' feedback or comment into account. That's the point that the author would like to say here. Meaning they would like to emphasize that everyone should be somehow consider they are the agent of change. If they don't involve in that process, the interaction or collaboration with another stakeholders, the benefit of impact of IR 4.0 cannot happen as well. Okay. So there's two groups of economists that pursue the impact of IR 4.0 on economic growth. So the author divided into two groups. One is techno-pessimist and another one is techno-optimist. So for the techno-pessimist is the economists believe that the critical contribution of the digital revolution or technology on productivity are almost over. Like there's no much room that technology can improve the productivity that will contribute to the economic growth anymore. However, another group of economists believe that technology and innovation is just at a turning point, meaning that it will spur the economic growth, but because of some reason, or because we are at the beginning of industrial revolution 4.0 or IR 4.0, the benefit or the good impact of IR 4.0 on productivity and on economic growth does not show yet. Okay, let's move to another slide. So for this, before the economic crisis in 2008, the world economic crisis in 2008, the economic growth is around 5% per year. But after that, the economic growth seems like to be stuck at around 3 to 3% per year. And the question that economists ask why? There's many reasons to explain. One may be some that have mentioned is centennial slump and secular stagnation, meaning that the economic will not grow in very long time, like say maybe in 100 years. And another reason may be because of capital misallocation. It's referred to that the capital or other resources are not used in the best way as much as possible. They can contribute to the society and economy. Another reason may be because of over indebtedness, in the sense that for example, if you borrow a lot of money, you don't have any capacity to pay the bank. That we call over indebtedness. So, and that over indebtedness can lead to poverty growth, because and also led to the demand reduction in the society, which led to the slowdown of the economy. And another one is aging and productivity, which I will explain later in the slide. And the author is among these reasons, the author choosing aging and productivity to explain in detail due to both of these two are interwoven with technology development. Now let's move to see what aging will be for the economy. So, hello, any question? Okay. So here, aging is economic challenge because the older member of the society they are, the low workforce and more dependency they are. Imagine that, for example, in the past, imagine nowadays we have like 5 million workforce who are full of, physical, mental, and work for the economy. But in the next 20 years, what if what if half of them or 3 millions of them retire? So meaning that we will lack of the workforce and also more dependency on the environment. One more thing is that when there are small population ages, it also mean the future demand, as well as for the big purchase like houses, like car, or like furniture or anything in that demand them to spend higher. But if the demand for food, that basically is okay, but demand for something that's big and need a lot of money, the aging population may not be enough uh, to pay for that or to spend for that. And it also means that the population will not take risk to do any investment as well, because they are old now. If they invest money in something else that risky, they may not get it in return. And how about the rest of their life? So another thing. And another thing is that because they are old, they cannot go to work, so maybe their income decreased significantly, so they need to withdraw the salary from the bank. And you need to remember, as some of you work in the bank, you may know that saving is a part saving that each of us put in the bank can become the investment fund that the bank can lend it to investor or other borrower to invest in their businesses. So this is the cycle of what aging society will contribute to the slow economic growth. Okay, therefore, it here means that we should work smarter, not harder, meaning when we work smarter, we don't need a lot of demanding a lot of labor. Okay, and now let's move to another one is productivity. So the data so far that I have mentioned before that after 2008, our economic growth is just like 6 to 3.5%. So the data just saw that we have declining productivity, right? And at the same time, Industrial Revolution 4.0 start at the early 21st century, meaning that 2008, something like that. So how can we reconcile the data that has indicated declining in productivity as well to economic growth with the expectation that in one day it will increase the productivity because of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 or because of the technology and innovation? So the first achievement that the author has mentioned is about the challenge that we evaluate or measure the input and output. So in the past, in Industrial Revolution 3.0, we measure the productivity. Like for example, if we add one machine, how many one more machine, how many more product that we can get. But in the industry for IE 4.0, it's not only about that. It's about efficiency in the business, efficiency in the service that we get. For example, like Netflix, we don't need, like I explained in previous lesson, we don't need to go to the shop to hire or to rent. To rent the VCO machine or cassette in order to come back home and play it and return it back. But nowadays we can use Netflix, so it is very efficiency in terms of. We don't need to spend money on traveling to go there and time as well. You can spend a lot of time to do something else besides going to rent the VCO or something like that. Another one is about Grab, like ride hailing, meaning that it's easy for us. With just one click, we can get the driver to come to pick us up from home. We can buy ticket online. There's Airbnb that we don't need. We can book in advance. We don't need to go to live in the whole expensive hotel or something like that. So this is what that some economists may overlook, which does not counted in for measuring the economic growth. That's the point that make it seem like IR 4.0 does not affect any economics. Okay, and another argument is about, well, we may not, it's not maybe the right time yet that we experience the productivity explosion from IR 4.0 because and everything takes time. We may not be the right time because we are at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. That's the arguments that the author accrue again the negative impact or the stagnant growth of digital economy. Oh no, sorry, of the economy in the time of Industrial Revolution 4.0. Okay, let's move to another one. Okay. There's a reason that show that it is just the beginning of the positive impact of Industrial Revolution 4.0 based on the author. So three reasons that they have mentioned. One is that IR 4.0 or IR 4.0, sorry, offers the opportunity to integrate the unmet needs or demand of the other 2 million people into the global economy. This is because of technology. Technology can empower and connect individual and community all over the world to one another. So their demand will be met. When there's demand, there is supply, and when there's supply and demand in the society, the economy will go accordingly. Okay. The second reason is that IR 4.0 will greatly increase our ability to address the negative externalities. I believe some of you may know about the negative externality like carbon dioxide that we produce every day or any waste that we produce after our consumption. That we call a negative externality. So in the past, where the government had the policy try to limit the production, like manufacturing activity or something like that, that can produce carbon dioxide and contribute to global warming or climate change. So, but nowadays, because technology to some extent, it can somehow indirectly or directly reduce carbon dioxide emission, meaning that it reduces negative externalities. For example, in the past, what can I say? In the past, we may need to buy a lot of. For example, in the past, each family need to buy cars, right? But nowadays, we don't need to have car by ourselves. We don't need to have, means of transportation. We just do car sharing or we just order Grab so that we don't need to buy car. Meaning that there's one car but can just buy by most of the people. Meaning that it means that the car produce company don't need to produce more car, which contribute to carbon dioxide emission. That's one point. Okay. Another point is another reason that the author has stressed is is that business, government, and also the civil society still somehow find a way to transform their organization and in order to get the full efficiency from the technologies. Meaning that they have up until now they still struggling finding the way how to make it, how to organize their workplace, the way of work in order to get the full benefit of IR 4.0. So these are the reasons that the author believes that in the future we will get more positive impact than the negative impact from IR 4.0. Okay. Aside from the positive impact, we also should look at the negative impact as well, especially in the labor market. So the negative impact of technology on the labor market is not new, and the fear of loss of job due to automation, due to technology, has happened in 1931. However, the past experience show that this is not true because technology at the time so far cannot replace human or us much in order for work. But these kinds of fear have reignited again based on the evidence that computer have somehow substitute some job. For example, you may have noted, like for example, like the bookkeeper, we don't need it anymore. Cashier or telephone operator or sometimes they just use chatbot in order to serve the service. So these kinds of jobs are replaced by technology and innovation. That's why these kinds of fear that technology will replace us in our work become the somehow on trend again. Okay, now let's move to another slide. Okay, this one, sorry. So new technology will also change the nature of work across all industry and occupations. And the fundamental uncertainty has to do with the extent to which automation will substitute of labor, like how long will it take and how far will it go. And before answering this question, we need to understand what competing effect of technology. So competing effect of technology divided into two. One is destructive effect. Another one is destructive effect plus capitalization effect. So for the destruction effect, it means that the automation or technology will replace this labor, and at the end of the day, people will go unemployed, and it become the social crisis because of employment in the large scale. But in another one, for destruction effect and capitalization effect, meaning that okay, automation or technology will replace some job, but at the same time, it may also lead to have another job creation or service creation. So it means that it means that by the time, because the capitalizing effect, the demand for new goods and services will increase, and meaning that it also leads to another new occupation, business, and even industries. For example, in the past years, there will be not much data analytics, right? Because there's no concept of big data, there's no concept of machine learning. But nowadays, because of technology, innovation, now we have a lot of big data, a lot of data are collected, and machine learning. So there has a job for data analytics and those working in machine learning. So this is we call it the combination between destructive effect and capitalization effect. But the key here is not it's about the timing and the extent to which that capitalization effect will occur, and how quickly the substitution will of the job for our human being will take place. So if that capitalization effect take place first, we may not affect much from the job loss due to technology. But if that capitalization effect does not happen fast, meaning that some of the job will be replaced by automation or technology. Okay. For this, there are two opposing group when it comes to the impact of IE 4.0 on labor market. That it's just like the one who believe in the disruptive effect and also the capitalization effect, and the one who believe in the disruption effect only. So for those who believe in the disruption and capitalization effect, they may think that, okay, worker will be replaced by technology, and those people will also find new jobs because there's a lot of jobs, there's a lot of demand that arrive from the new technologies. Another group of people believe that technology will cause a lot of massive unemployment and will lead into a conflict in society. This in the sense that they don't believe that the new technology will create more demand or services. So those who are replaced by the automation or technology will become unemployed. And when we become unemployed in a massive scale, it will lead to the social conflict. So the question here is not about which positive or negative effect of the IO can do to us. Of course, everything has a negative effect, but what should we do in order to foster more positive outcomes or impact from IO 4.0 and have those who are in the serious condition that the automation or technology will replace their job? That's meaning that what should we do in order to help those people in order to survive in the era of IO 4.0? Now let's move to labor substitution. So more specifically in this section, there's 3 main points that we need to highlight. One is innovation in information and order disruptive technology. They don't create new. They do not only creating new product, but also less productivity to replace the existing workers. Sorry, existing worker, not existing workers. So another piece of information is that more job in high income cognitive, there will be more jobs in high income cognitive creative jobs, like those who need, designer, something like that, and those who need a lot of like using the emotion, empathy. And also there are more also the job for low income and your occupation that's very hard to replace by robotic or automation, but there will be less job in middle income routine and repetitive jobs. That what the author forecasted. And technology will enhance human labor and cognition. Therefore, leaders need to prepare workforces and develop education model to work with alongside an increasingly capable, connected, and intelligent machine. In this sense, means that in order to avoid the massive scale of employment due to the technology that substitute our work, the leader need to prepare the workforce and develop any education model that will that the people can work along or complement with the new technology, just like the government nowadays has imposed on the STEAM education, focus on technology. This is the way that our government have prepared our human resources in the future to deal with the impact of IE 4.0 or technology. Okay, another one is about the impact on skill. So in a very involving working environment, the ability to anticipate future employment, trend and needs in terms of knowledge and skill required to adapt become even more critical for all stakeholders. But this trend is it depends on industry and geography, because meaning depends on the country as well as industry as well. But it's still important. It's still important for the leader to understand the industry and country-specific outcome from before industrial revolution. Okay, IR 4.0 will demand and place more emphasis on the ability of workers to adapt continuously and learn new skills and operate within a variety of contexts, meaning that the work we need to have the adaptability to work and also we need to upgrade our skill to match with the fast changing of technology. Well, wage and work-life balance is expected to increase slightly because of the technology, but at the same time, job security is expected to worsen due to the substitution of technology. Like, because technology is evolving so fast, we are not sure when will our role can be replaced by automation or technology. So the job security will be in the question for the near future for like every angle of jobs, every aspect of job. Women and men will be affected differently, both negative and positive from both negatively and positively from IR 4.0. But due to the nature of the job that taken by the women seem like to be get the worst negative impact from getting more negative impact from IR 4.0, meaning that it can exacerbate the current gender inequality in working environment. Okay, let's into this. Let's look at the case study, the gap and IR 4.0 that raised by the author. So there are two worrying trends for economic gender equality. One is based on the current pace of progress, meaning that it will take like 118 years before the economic gender equality is achieved to current state. And another worry is that the progress toward equality is remarkably slow and possibly stalling already. Therefore, it is critical for us as well as the leader and the government to consider the impact of IR 4.0 on the gender gap. Okay, in the near future, this is based on the author, both female-dominated and male-dominated professions or jobs are likely to be significantly replaced by technology. But, well, job loss seem like to are more for the job that is characterized for women, especially in the service related to service. So the labor policy and business practices should be redesigned to ensure that both men and women are empowered to their full extent or full potential in order to avoid the substitution of the work from technology. Let's into another slide. Okay, it's about the impact of IR 4.0 on employment, especially on developing economy. So although many aspects of IR 4.0 characterize the transformations in advance and to a certain extent in the middle income countries, it does not mean that IR 4.0 will not impact developing countries. It does not mean that one country that haven't achieved or haven't experienced IR 4.0 will not get infected by IR 4.0. Okay. So if the competitiveness does not depend on low-cost labor, it means that global manufacturing can resolve or can reallocate. Sorry. Global manufacturing like garment factory can restore or reallocate to other countries because nowadays, because of technology, they don't need the low-cost labor. They don't need to put their factory in the developing country or low-income country anymore because of the technology. So they can move their factory to somewhere or even to the advanced economies or into their home country. If that's the case, it will be a challenge for low-income countries and many countries that low-income countries because they will lose that competitiveness over the labor. And many countries need to design strategic and model for industrialization. What should we do if the garment factory in Cambodia are moved to other advanced country, like if all the US or American garment factory will move to their own country because they have new technology, they can produce the same exactly the same output, but with less expense compared with us. So this is what the government should take into consideration. Okay, another one is that the dangers of the winner take it all. As you may know, that for example, if one that is like the rich will get all something that's good, that's going to be the winner all time. Same thing for Industry Revolution 4.0 is that the winner can take all dynamic, meaning that it will lead to the increase the social tension and conflict, and also create less cohesive and more volatile world. Take this example into consideration. For example, you guys are rich, so you have ability to access to the internet, you know more, you can have more money to learn more machine learning, big data analytics, because you have got more information, you have more money to invest in yourself, right? But imagine for the poor, for those who are in the poor family, who have no idea what's that technology, what's that is big data, what's that is machine learning. So they have not, even they know it's by chance, but they have no money in order to pursue their education or pursue their interest in such skill. So in the future, those that big data analytics or machine learning or anything related to technology will become the on demand. So those like the rich will get a job, but the poor still not get a job and live in poverty. That's the point that they said that winner will take all dynamic, which this in turn will also increase the gap between the rich and the poor and the division between within and among within the country and across the country around the world. Okay. Therefore, leader need to ensure that they will execute credible strategy to improve people's lives. Social unrest, mass migration, and violent extremism. If not, those kinds of conflict will intensify and will creating risk to country development. As you may have known that like before the Pol Pot regime, one reason that there will have Pol Pot regime because of the gap between the rich and the poor that's so large. Not only in Cambodia, in any countries that there's the large gap between the rich and the poor, there will always the social unrest. So this may be the point as well that I offer points ago can somehow lead into the unrest in society because it extends or enlarge the gap between the rich and the poor. Okay, now let's move to another one is the nature of work. So the on-demand economy, if so if you don't know, so human cloud refer to the professional activities that are dissected into precise assignment and discrete project, and then it's go into the virtual cloud of for those who are interested to work. Even those they don't need to have to come to office, they don't need to have the, working permit in order to do the projects. Like for example, I would like to do one market research for baby product. I just saw it on the Human Cloud on the website that I would like to hire consultant or the researcher to do that marketing research for me. So those who have capacity, they can work. They don't need to come to my office, to my workplace in order to work. They can work everywhere as long as they provide us or provide me the output. So the Human Cloud, the advantages for an individual is that for us like you, that's why you guys accept the consulting job. Yeah, you have freedom. You don't need to wake up early in the morning to go to every office to get to the office on time at 8 and do the job. You can do whatever you want, wherever you want, as long as you produce the output uh, for the one who hire you, so that you don't have mind stress. You don't need to care about traveling, about the rules at the workplace or something like that. Another advantages of the human cloud is for the company. Like company or each workplace when they hire the staff, permanent staff, for example, they need to have a lot of, follow a lot of law and regulation of the country. They need to make sure that they pay minimum wage, they have the employer tax, they have social benefit, they need to buy the insurance or something like that. But for the human cloud, you just don't care. You give that amount, that piece of work, you don't need to care whether it's minimum wage or not. As long as someone accepts the job, you don't need to have, okay, you need to buy the insurance for them, or you need to take care of that, of the tax, anything. It's just, okay, this is the amount of money you need to produce in this kinds of work. So this is the advantages of company. But the question here is that it is the beginning of the new and flexible work revolution, that everyone can work anytime anytime, anywhere they want, or it is the beginning of the unregulated virtual switch off, meaning that, in some consulting job, in some places in Cambodia or in other places, like, for example, I want to do market research. If I ask my staff to do it, it will take like 6 months to produce one report, and also I have to spend money on the group of people at my team at my workplace, like, let's say 30K US dollar for 3 or 4 months or 6 months to do that. But if I just put it on the human cloud, it's competitive environment. Anyone who can bid to the lowest will get a job. So I may just spend like 10K and get the research done under 3 months. So this is some kind of the how can I say, exploitation in the job, because with limited number of time and also limited amount of money, I has asked a lot of more than that one person can do within the 3 months and with the amount of money. So this is the question whether it is really the time for unregulated job, because if I do that with my staff at my workplace, they're gonna have some voices and there will maybe the problem. But if I do it in human cloud, well, voila, no, people cannot say anything. Okay, it is just another question. It is merely the way that they accelerate the automation of human jobs online. You don't need to come to workplace or something like that. So let's move to this one. I think discussion, but this one should be do after a group presentation so that everyone will understand more. Now I would like to move to another part, is related to the impact of IE 4.0 on business. So let's look at the some of disruptions from IE 4.0. So on the supply side, we can see that many industries are seeing the introduction of new technology that can create the whole new ways of serving existing needs and are significantly disrupting the existing value chain. This one, okay, and another one is related to the disruption also flow from agile. There's also disruption also from agile and innovative competitors who can overtake well-established company faster than ever by improving the quality, speed, price in which they deliver value. For example, if you look at, is this about how the startup compete with the big company? Some big company, well, let's say they have a lot of money, but their job, their work may not be that agile to catch up with innovation. Let's look at the banking industry. So some bank, okay, let's say the majority of bank, they have money, they have people to work for them, but because of some bureaucracy, because some the way that they work, their working environment and the nature of the work are not that, somehow can I say, agile or fast enough. But for the fintech company or fintech startup that is small enough, they are very agile because they don't have a lot of bureaucracy. They have like 3 or 5 people, so they don't have director in department to decide on one single project, and it takes like 6 months in order to finish one project. But for in startup, fintech startup company, fintech startup, they have only 5 people. It's easy to decide on one job, and they are very small that sometimes they don't need, in some cases, they don't need to follow the rules set by the government as well. So this makes some fintech startup move really fast, and somehow it can take some share of the market in the industry as well. Another point is related to digitalization. A number like company to cross industry boundary by leveraging their customer base infrastructure and demand. In this part, let's look at the move of telecommunication company into the healthcare and into automated segment, for example. So that we call telehealth. So telehealth is the way that the telecommunication company deliver the healthcare, health education, and health information service via remote technology. It means that nowadays not only that hospital will deliver the healthcare, but telecommunication can also cross the boundary, do the job, and provide the healthcare to their customer by using technology. On the demand side, we can see that there's a major shift on the demand side as well. The major shift on demand side are also disrupting the business. It increasing transparency, consumer engagement, a new pattern of consumer behavior, forcing companies to adapt the way they design, market, and deliver existing and new product and services. Like I have mentioned about the consumption, that the customer can give a review and feedback on that. So because of that kinds of website, because of the platform, digital platform, our voice as a customer will be heard to the producer. So producer who care, we try to update their services, improve their services to match our expectation. So this is because technology will affect the business in both in the demand side. Now let's move to another slide. Okay, in business, there are four main effects that also we talk about. Is one is consumer expectation. Another one is data intense product, meaning the product use the data in order to enhance the service of quality. New collaboration, innovation, and new operating business model. In terms of customer expectation, you can say that customer expectations are being redefined into experiences, meaning how you serve your customer. Nowadays, it's not only about the product. For example, like Apple, it's not about the phone that they sell. It's not about that phone anymore. It's not only about the product. It's about the experience that Apple gives us as the user. You get what I mean? When how can I say? It's not only the company who sell the phone. It's not only about the phone only. It's not just okay. This is the phone. You use it, but it's not. It's about the app, the gaming, the app, the efficiency and the convenience that iPhone can give to us. That the experiences that normally the cost the product get more prices than the product itself. Okay, now let's talk about data sharing. So in terms of it seems like nowadays the value proposition of the business is going to the customer who are willing to share the data, like changing from data ownership to data sharing. For example, if you would like to buy a car, right? So it's not the problem that I don't win. I just own the data. Okay. I will not enclose the information on my salary, I will not include this information about my debt to the bank, any bank, or something like that. It's not about you don't reveal the data to the car shop anymore. It's about you sell the data, because if you don't sell the data, you will not get the loan from. You will not be allowed to. I mean, how can I say, to pay the car company in monthly payment to give to car company, not in, I mean, in the whole price. For example, if the car cost 30K, so if you don't have enough like that 30K to give it to the car company, the car company will demand you a lot of data to assess your whether you have ability or affordability to pay monthly payment to the car company or not. Therefore, it means that the debt, the amount of salary that you get per month, all the necessary information related to your financial status need to share to the car company. If you don't share that all information, the car company will not be enough to give you the car and get your monthly payment from you. So in this sense, the car company will not only work only with the customer itself, but the car company will work with the company that you are working, the workplace that you are working. We also work with the every bank or financial institution that you borrow the loan from, because they need to know whether you have the ability to pay for the loan or not. They need to know. They need to know that whether your credit scoring, meaning that your history of paying debt is good enough for them to trust that you will not default there, you will not take the car and run away or something like that. Okay, for this, in order to enhance the customer expectation, technology will can also help. So the data will be analyzed and target and serve customers. For example, how can I say? If you look at to Amazon, if you have logged out to Amazon or Taobao or Netflix, they use data in order to analyze or analyze your what's this your preference. They can do this by looking at the card that what you have ordered so far, and also what product you have clicked on to review, or what product you have given a comment on. You see what the Amazon as well as other shopping website use in order to analyze what is your preference and what kind of suggestion, product suggestion or recommended that they can give you on the website. If you used to use Amazon or something, you will just go there one day after you buy something, you click one day, another day you click on another that website again, Amazon, and you will see that recommended product for you. This is the way that Amazon use the data in order to provide the information to suggest what kinds of product that may need or suit your target. Okay. One more thing is about data transparency. The trend of digitalization is currently toward more transparency. It means that more data in the supply chain, more data at the fingertip of consumer, and hence more peer-to-peer comparison on the performance of the product that is power to consumer. Let's look at this simple. If you used to buy the air ticket, there's a lot of website that you can go to check and see compare the price of the air ticket provided by each airline. Like if you would like to go to Japan in April from which date to another date, you go to Japan airline. I mean, that's the website that compare the price for airline for you, like Japan airline how much, Qatar how much, Korean airline how much, and how many hours you in order to do transition. That's the way that they use data, the technology you provide to the customer to see the data in the transparency. But in the past, if we don't have such data, we may not be able to compare. For example, if you go to buy the ticket in the counter or in the company of like or Thai airline itself, we don't know whether Thai airline is much more expensive compared with the Qatar airline or something like that. So this is lack of transparency between the price and the price and the cost of the product and services. But with the technology nowadays, the digital platform, the website, we can easily compare and decide which price that we can pay for based on what criteria, like for example, the length, the layout, the number of time hour that we lay over, or the popularity of the airline, something like that. Okay, now let's move to another, the one. Okay, it's related to data as hand product. Okay, technology will help business to enhance their product and services by using digital capability. Like if you look at Tesla, they use over the air software to update the software in the car, so that Tesla car will have always has new feature, new gaming, or let's say, yeah, new gaming or entertainment on in the car itself. So this is the way that they use technology in order to enhance the product itself. When you buy the car, it's not only the car. Tesla is not only the car. It's the way that it provides the experience. Just like iPhone, it's not only the iPhone. It's not only the phone they used to, how can I say, to call, to text. It is the way that the experience you get from iPhone. If the experience that is not important, why iPhone can compete or can win over Nokia? Because Nokia lack of innovation, so they cannot compete with iPhone that have innovative product and provide more better, much more experience for the user. Okay, technology can also help in maintenance that include utility maximization. For example, that's ZEP, SAP rural sourcing management company. They have to use the mobile app that connects smallholder farmer with the other countries in the world. Also with, I mean, with other global business companies, so they can know exactly what kinds of certain output they can get. Also, technology can help in maintenance in the whole system of it. Let's say for the airplane, because of the technology, the pilot does not need to wait until until the airplane has any problem. They have the technology into the detect. Okay, there's maybe some problem with the left wing or right wing, so you need to maintain it before in advance in case there's a problem along the way, or there's a problem before the flight comes. So technology also provide the ability to predict the performance of an asset, which enable new business model and new opportunity to buy services. So let's talk about what kind of company, because machine, I forget it the name, yeah, something like that. So this company, they no longer sell the tire. They are the company who sell the tire of the car, right? But nowadays they just give the tire of the car free of charge. What they charge is the service, the chip that they put in the tire of the car in order to know how far that the car will go, and how also analyze the fuel consumption, also the, yeah, many more about that. So it's not about selling the car the tire anymore. So that company sell the services that they provide to the transportation company. Is the service that they provide to know the fuel consumption, so that the driver will not cheat on you. They will know that whether the driver really driving the car or not. Now let's move to another slide. It's about collaborative innovation. So as I say, nowadays there's a trend that there's collaboration between incumbent, meaning that the big large company, and also the young dynamic firm like startup. Like for example, it's the company. If some of you working in the bank, you may know that some banks are also work in collaboration with the startup company in order to produce mobile phone that is up to date, that is very innovative in the market. It's the way that the big company working with the young dynamic firm, because one thing is that I have mentioned before that the big company, they have money, they have human resources, but they're human, but because of some reasons, those human resources may lack specific skill, also because of bureaucracy, and because of maybe they be in the industry for too long, they even forget what or have no sensitivity to the customer need in the market. So they have worked with the young firm because they have money. They can hire a young firm in order to do the market analysis, to use mobile app that is very convenient for the young people to use. And what young firm will get is not only the money, but also they will get the data, because like if you compare startup company, very small, just created like 1 or 2 years, they will compare with the amount of data that the bank have. They cannot compare with the bank. The bank have a lot of amount of data that it can be used in order to generate, to find another services, to design another product that match with the market. So this is what we call that it's a win-win solution. The big company like bank will get more innovative products with the market demand, and the young firm like startup will get more data in order to use or generate new services or product in order to capture the market as well. Okay, so collaborate to innovation, both startup and big company can create significant value for the both party and also economic that the collaboration occur. For example, some bank in Cambodia has worked in collaboration with the fintech startup. So as a result, the bank can somehow take more serve the market demand of people, can produce the good app, mobile phone app that people easily to spend payment. And also, at the same time, fintech startup can get more data in order to analyze what kinds of services, digital services, financial digital services that they can provide in the market in the future. And we as the customer also get easier, because nowadays you don't need to go to the bank to withdraw money, and some of us may not have may not have the cash in our wallet as well. What we need is only the phone. As long as we have ABA, KIDA, or other bank, you can just spend it, easily. However, at the same time, it's not easy. You need to remember that bank, for example, bank is the big financial institution, meaning they have many protocol, many written and unwritten rule. While young startup is just created, they can do whatever they want as they like. So one is compared with the bank, they are more flexible, but bank cannot be flexible because they have many procedure, many way to work. So this demand them somehow be pattern. They need the effective communication channel, align process, and flexibility, so that both of them can work together. But if both of them don't be pattern and also work the way that they want as before, like they work in the individual or separately, their kinds of collaborative innovation cannot happen. Okay, now let's move to another one is related to the did I okay new business model. Okay, there are 5 new business operating model that happen because of technology. One is the customer centric model, meaning that it's focusing on making customers' life easier, such as retailer Argo, meaning like just like Amazon, you don't need to go to the shop, you just stay at home and order the product ingredient, it comes on time to your door. This is the model that focus on customer experience. Another one is about extra frugal, meaning that is the way that the business thriving on a culture less is more. Such as Michelin, the one that I mentioned before about the car, tire car manufacturer, that because of environmental, negative externality, the more the tire the company machining produce, the carbon dioxide will be emitted into the air. So the government will charge more on machining because they produce a lot of carbon dioxide, which produce to lead to global climate change, global warming. So machine have the new way of work is that they just give the tire free of charge, and they sell the service in terms of chip to put on the tire so that they will charge the service on that chip, not on the tire produced anymore. And another one may be related like the car selling scheme. Like I open one company, I have 10 cars. So the point is that you guys can come to hire to rent a car from me. So meaning that because you don't need to buy your own car, you can rent a car from me, meaning that the car producing company will not produce a lot of car as well. So meaning this one is less is more. Focus only something that is sustainable that contribute to the environment most of the time. I mean, another model is data power, like data intense product that I have mentioned before. That it builds around the progress in analytic and software intelligence, such as Amazon and Netflix that I have mentioned that they use the data, the way that you view the product, you comment, the history of your purchasing in order to get to another, to recommend you another product, and also to target to the right customer. This is the way that it works. Just like Facebook as well. Facebook also use the data, the way that we click into the page, we like the page, we comment, or we do any post. That's the way that the Facebook use this kind of data and sponsor, meaning that put the ad that in your Facebook so that you can see the ad. Like if you are interested in skincare, it's likely that you will do more web page or the product related to skincare. So so Facebook will use such kind of data and information to give it to the skincare seller or skincare shop, and the ads, the advertisement will come to you across on the page. Another one is Skynet. Skynet here refer to like the business that make intensive use of machine to increase productivity and flexibility of the product. Sorry. Let's say just like just the just like Google and also a lot of technology that they try to automate their working environment that based on technology, just Skynet. But this just you just imagine the Skynet, so similar to that. Another one, the last one is about open and liquid. The name is quite somehow strange, but it's just looking outward with the view to create the enriched customer proposition, let's say at Facebook. So Facebook here not only use open and liquid model, but also data power. Here meaning that for example, I am a restaurant owner or baby products owner shop. I will use the model that I will listen to what the customer want, their feedback and their comment, and I will buy only or import only the products that are on demand of the customer. That we call open and liquid. Okay, now let's look at another one related to the new operating model as well. But when there are new operating model, as you may have seen, all the 5 models depends on the data and technology itself. So this also means that there should be more investment to do that focus on cyber and data security, right? As we have learned in the previous lesson that cyber security is one of the most important pillar in among the other 9 pillars, because without data without cyber security, because we all depend on data, and without anything to prevent any hacking, even prevent any criminal activities, it's very hard for us to use and trust the technology nowadays. Therefore, the leader as well, the government should strengthen the cyber security or data security in the country in order to avoid any disruption. It's by the criminal and as well as any unintentional failure in digital infrastructure by, for whatever mean. And it also made the implication that talent and culture need to be restored in the light of new skill requirement. And also the need to attract and retain the right sort of human capital. For example, nowadays we know we have learned that okay, data is very important in the digital economy. Technology is evolving beyond the data. So maybe in the next 2 or 3 months or 3 years away, you may need a lot of data analytics or the one who know machine learning in order to in order to analyze data and work in with those business model. That's the way that it works, and it also means for the each company as well industry as well to look find or to attract the human resources or the staff that have ability or flexibility to work in data or any of technology like program writing code or something like that. Okay, now let's move to another one is also the case study that the author has mentioned is about the environmental renewal and preservation. Okay, this is the last slide, so don't worry. So one is that therefore pathway that technology can promote by designing a restorative, regenerative, and more productive economic system, meaning that we can improve, we can increase our economy as well as at the same time we can ensure that our environment are protected as well. Let's say like that. Like Internet of Things and intelligent asset, you know Internet of Things, right? Like the two things or multiple things that are connected by the work of technology and internet. So because of Internet of Things and intelligent asset, like our phone, smartphone is internet asset, intelligent asset, they can improve process in supply chain and logistics, etc. For example, in the past, when we don't have like how can I say e-commerce platform, we need to travel in a long way to buy something that we want. Both bad and good. We need to spend a lot of time, energy consumption as well. When the time we don't have Grab, you don't have anything, right? So we need our own traveling transportation. But nowadays, because of technology, we don't need that. Internet of Things, well, because nowadays we have Netflix, we don't need to go to the shop in order to hire or to rent or buy the cassette or video player in order to play it. So we use the consumption, meaning we reduce carbon emission. Okay. Another one is the about democratization of information and transparency, meaning that it gives power to citizens to hold the company and country accountability. For example, we can, because of satellite, we can capture and also some of blockchain technology as well. Like that, we can capture the data of deforestation from the satellite. We can see it how was the government is handled the deforestation or illegal logging activity. That's make the us as a citizen no had the power, maybe that not more than the government, but to some extent we can know the information more clearly in the real time as well. Okay. Another one is about the new information flow and increasing transparency, which similar to the democratization of information in transparency. This in another sense, besides we look at the way that the government develop the country, we can also have our behavior. For example, like offer is the one company that bring AI technology and artificial intelligence technology and behavior science and methodology together. How can I say? They put in the website. They have the product, but also at the same time they have the app they're solving that. Okay, person A use like this amount of energy today, and person B use this such amount of electricity today. So because of this comparison, to some extent, we feel like, okay, the other two people use much less energy than me. So I, as a human being, as the responsible citizen, I should use my energy consumption as well. That's how the word technology works. And another one is related to new business and organization model. It is in technology can provide innovative ways of creating and selling value. Like I have mentioned before, like care sharing scheme. Because now we have technology, we have information. A bank can share information with the car company, so the car company can give you the car to share to rent the car without being afraid that you're gonna wait with the car. This is how the technology have to preserve or to protect our environment relating to the sustainable development goal. Okay, any question up until now? Hello? Những khi những kênh ở hết đó. Hello?
Hello, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Yep. Any question, or you would like to have a breakfast because it's now 7:11? Okay, let's have a break like 15 minutes or to 20 minutes. Okay, let's say 15 minutes only. So you go to have lunch, grab some snack, and come back in the second session. Group number 1 and 2 will present, and after that, we will talk or discuss about the question or any question that you would like to ask. Okay. Okay, let's come back now. Now it's 11. You can come back at 11:30. See you. And group number 1 and number 2, please be prepared. Thank you.
No, like
7:30 lecture.
Okay, welcome back everyone. Now I would like to give the floor for group number one. Please set aside and present your PowerPoints. Thank you.
Okay, so good evening everyone and good evening lecture. And we are from group one. So in our group we have Bin Sainak, me, Kaldane, Ogdelia, Tida, and the last one is Radhavin. So today we are going to present on the impact of Industrial Revolution 4.0. Next slide, please. So this is the table of our content, and we are divided into two fundamental factors. The first one is economy, and the second one is business. Next slide, please. So as you already know that the fourth industrial revolution impact on almost every aspect of life, and it will usher in economic, social, and cultural change. And however, in this chapter, the author will be discussed on the potential impact of fourth industrial revolution, specifically on economy, business, government, country, society, and individual. So the fourth industrial revolution will have a monumental impact on the global economy, and those will be include GDP, investment, consumption, employment, trade, inflation, and so on. And those will be affected toward Industrial Revolution 4.0. However, they also only address about two fundamentals such as growth and employment. So the first one is growth in economy. The fourth industrial revolution 4.0 will have potentially impact on the growth with recent economic trend and other factors that contribute to the economic growth. And we could see that before the financial crisis that happening in 2008, the global economy was growing about 5% per year. And if this rate had continued, right now we would have it would allow global GDP to double every 14, 15 years and billion people will be released out of poverty. And however, after the Great Recession, the world also expected that the global economy would be returned to its previous high growth pattern. But unfortunately, that has not happened. The global economy growth rate had stuck lower than the post-war period. It was about 3 to 3.5% per year. And in addition, the author also mentioned about two factors that involving with the technology development, and those include aging and productivity. So aging is a normal thing for human. However, it is the economic challenge because when the retirement age are increasing, it will lead to the decline of workforce. And the working age population fall at the same time following with the percentage of dependent elder increase. And however, this pattern could be improved because of the fourth industrial revolution. It will be provide us with the ability to live longer, healthier, and more active. And as we live in a society where more than a quarter of children were born today, in an advanced economy are expected to live 100. So another contribution is productivity. And productivity is the most important determinant of long-term growth, and it contributes to improving people living standard. Further, the Industrial Revolution 4.0 will also boost the efficiency of productivity in business. And meanwhile, the fourth industrial revolution also offers you three positive impacts, such as first, it offers the opportunity to integrate the unmet need of billion people in the global economy, and it's also driving an additional demand for existing product and service by empowering and connecting and connect between connecting individual and communication all over the world to one another. And second, the fourth industrial revolution will also provide us an increasement on our ability to address negative externality, and also it boosts potential of economic growth. And the third one, the fourth industrial revolution, will also boost the efficiency of country. Yes.
The slide is like this, or you forget to move your slide?
It's only one slide lecture.
Okay, okay.
Yes, thank you. And yes, and also the third one, the fourth industrial revolution will also boost the efficiency of how country should be restructured their country, their structure and the government to obtain the full value of Industrial Revolution 4.0. And for the next part, it will be talk about the impact of fourth industrial revolution on employment, in which it will be represented by my next teammate. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. So this next slide we are talking about employment. So as you know that new technologies will change the nature of work across all industries and occupations, the way we work, and the fundamental uncertainties it has to do with to the extent that the automation will substitute for a labor force. So in this slide, I'm talking about that there are two opposing claims when it comes to the impact of emerging technologies. The first one is I like to call the happy ending group or camp. They believe that workers replaced by technology will find new jobs, and those technology will unleash a new era of prosperity, like the first industrial revolution, where the agrarian culture were replaced by industrial. And the second camp is that excuse me. Okay. The second camp is that those who have the Amadagon idea, or those who like the end will be the battle between the good and evil. They mean that this technological improvement will create more unemployment on a massive scale. But this pessimistic view and the optimistic view that I raise here have some truth to it, because our history shows that the outcome is likely to be in the middle somehow. So the question is we ask, what should we do to foster more positive outcomes and have those caught in the transition? And but for the techno optimists, they this people in this era, they acknowledge that technology can be disruptive, but at the same time it's always end up improving productivity and increasing wealth instead. And they acknowledge both positive and negative, and it leads to a greater demand for goods and service. So why these techno optimists, we should what evidence that can be supported for the techno optimists that they claim that it can be disruptive, but at the same time it's increase the productivity. So now let's look at the labor substitution. As you know that the fourth industrial revolution like create uh no first sorry like the fourth industrial revolution, it's create fewer job in the new industry than the previous industry, because some jobs are dead and some jobs are replaced by machine. So for example, the employment in the US, only 0.5% of the US workforce is employed in the industry that did not exist in this turn of the century. So the previous job that employed by human have been replaced by the machine, and it shows that the innovation in like information and other disruptive technology like machine AI or machine learning, those type of technology tend to raise the productivity by replacing like the conventional workforce rather than creating new products that needing to more labor force to produce those products. And the for this table that you can see that the most prone to automation and least prone to automation. This is a research conducted by a researcher named Carl Benedict and Michael Osborne. They compare like looking at 300 jobs in total, and they look what is the most vulnerable job that maybe fall into automation and less prone to automation. As you can see that some job that maybe fall into automation, like this telemarketer can be replaced by AI, and tax preparers can be used by the machine to calculate faster than human. But some conventional skill like a critical thinking skill, like those critical job like psychologists, those are less prone to automation because machine doesn't have instinct or like worldview like human view the world. And the second one is impact on skill. Like in the foreseeable future, like the low risk jobs in terms of automation will be those that require social and creative skill, like I have mentioned earlier. In that particular, like the decision making under certain uncertainty and the development of new ideas, like machine cannot come up with those clever ideas than human. But from the author claim that these critical skill may not be lost because of like sophisticated algorithm that I put here. Machine learning, for instance, they can do complex tasks better than human. Like for example, the Christian Herman, she is a co-founder of a company specialized in automated net research generation. She forecast that by this mid 2025, like 90% of new job could be generated by algorithm, especially the machine learning algorithm. I may clarify that from I technically take this from outside. Machine learning is like it learn by itself. It's not like go from A to Z that the conventional the other like they are the type of algorithm where we human develop that and it just follow. But machine learning is like it's smart like human. It we fed them data and they try to learn them by themselves. The ability of the machine learning algorithm is has it can be adapted to the situation. However, since it does not actually always perfect because some machine learning they don't understand like the lack of social or creative or critical thinking skill unlike human. I like to raise an example here, like for example in this picture, uh, from the this researcher Janelle Shane, she actually put a picture of sheep and painted color and asked the machine identify an image reader to ask what are these, and the machine, the AI said cannot identify these are sheep, but instead they say a group of pink of flowers. So uh, in in a in a sense that it does not always AI can be replaced human somehow. The last one is the impact on the developing economies. So when AI and technology will develop better, it may be challenging to the low-income country or developing country because the fourth industrial revolution might lead to reshoring of global manufacturing to the core countries, and that is very possible if the access to low-cost labor that produced by the machine, by the new knowledge, is no longer drive the competitive of firm that where they look for outsourcing to other countries. And further the challenge of the on the developing country, that the danger that might be unleashed by the fourth industrial revolution mean that a winner takes over the dynamics play out between countries as well between them. So it's like maybe further increase the social tension because of the core country take all their uh, technology, take all the resources back to the core countries, and it may cause social conflict between in the country, that developing country that depend on those big country that export those technology, those new knowledge. And this is all from my part. I'd like to let the presenter to present. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the impact of the fourth industrial revolution is that everything all becoming more empowerment, and the nature of work have become a series of transaction between worker and a company rather than an enduring relationship. So one of the main point is that the labor force are no longer the traditional types. And in this part, I will get into two key concepts in the future of work, which is the human clouds and gig economy and the impact of it. So as technology has advancing more and more, there are also more and more technological innovation, and employer tend to use human clouds. Next slide, please. So what is human cloud? The human cloud, basically they store information about the on-demand workers and let the employer tap into the fast growing of gig economy to find and use the worker that on specific projects that they have. So basically it's an emerging set of digital labor marketplace where the worker or the one who has talent, they meet with those who are looking for or looking to hire talent and engage with each other in a work arrangement. So, but before we get further into this, let us not be confused about the human clouds and the work from home stuff, because like if you're working from home, sometimes it's meaning that the you are employed by a long term by a company, and you couldn't go to office because of like pandemic and stuff. But for the gig economy, it's a bit different because like it might be working online, it might be working at home, but it also can be working offline. So the difference is that for the gig economy, um, the worker still classified as self-employed, and sometimes they only do it part-time, but sometimes they only do it full time to gain more income only. And those gig economy or including work such as Uber driver or Airbnb that you rent your place out occasionally to gain more incomes. And like if you are on TikTok recently, there have been an explode promotion about like there are new side gig and stuff, and people promoting their website. If you go to this website and work for like 1 or 2 hours, you will gain like $100 or $200. Sometimes it's can be scam, but there are people who earning more income on that as well, and that is called gig economy. Next slide, please. Okay, so there are advantage. Obviously, the worker has more freedom to work or not to work, and because they are not under any company's long-term employment contract, they have less stress and more greater job satisfaction. And the employer also has advantage as well, because the people that they are hiring to work for are not their official employees, so they do not have to follow like the law that set the minimum work rate, and the price of the labor are under the law of supply and demand. So like they are also not under any obligation to provide worker with any employee benefits such as health insurance because again they are not contracted employee. However, this type of practice in work in the future will also raise some concern because like the price of the labor are unregulated, which could lead to high competition in the market and creating situations such as race to the bottom and stuff. Thank you. This is the end of my part.
Thank you, Sonita. So moving on to another impact of the IR 4.0, which is on the impact of business. So can you move to the next slide, please? Yes. How does the technology advancement have influenced the business structure? So in this, I would like to point out that beyond any other factor, technology remain one of the influential factor impacts on operations and the structure of business. So, with that being said, um, there's no doubt that in a higher rank of positions such as CEO or executive have to learn and adopt continuous change on in terms of the business trend and the overwhelms information to accelerate the innovations in order to um, adapt to the change. For example, we can see that Facebook and Google both are operating their company in a new technology, and they can generate a lot of benefit from that. So um, as a result, um, this has a great importance to the figure to analyze the environment and develop a result of the game plan according to the business accordingly. So with this new change of the impact of the technology on the business, the, it also brought a new disruption as well. So the disruption may arise under different form and different source and produce a distinguished result. So in this context, um, the supply side where technology has established a new set of ways to serve existing needs and consequently disrupt a value chain. So um, with that being said, so the innovative competitor will shift the supply and demand of the product or service in the market. So example, just like in the book that has been mentioned, even though the company is an existing company that have been um, run in a business or in economic for a long time, if a startup company came along the side, even though they are coming later and more later than them, but the information is transparent, so they might be able to catch up with the existing company that have been running for a long time. Then and it will be a huge um, challenge for a company who has been running. So that's the disruption that has with the business, that is the impact on the business. So moving on to the next slide. Yeah, so in this fourth industrial revolution, there is a main there is a four main impacts that across the business industry. The first one is the customer expectation shifting. The second one is data enhancing. Uh, the second one is the data enhancing product. The third one is the shift in the uh, collaboration and partnership due to the changing form of the business. And on top of that, the shift of the new operations model. So next slide, please. Regarding to the customer expectations, so due to the development of the virus technology, it has been the customer expectation have been shifting from from expectations to experience. So where everything is expected to where they expect everything to be smooth, transparent, and real time. By real time here, I mean it's like they don't want to wait and it is as quick as they want to. So the consumer want the product that they consume to be provided an ultimate result and experience for them to in terms of quality and services during the process of requiring to get it. Moreover, they expect the necessary information regarding to products to regarding to its readiness, the comparisons, and there's no hiding in terms of flaw or any defected anywhere or anywhere. So, for example, when they buy a watch, they can compare the price to of the product to another brand or anything, so they can find it online. So that is what they want. And also their lifestyle has been changing by mention about comparing any products online. So their lifestyle has been so much changing and more dependent on the technology, where they can shop online or order everything online. So everything is within their fingertip. Yes, so that's it for the customer expectation. Moving on to data enhancing product, which will be present by another teammate.
So moving on to the second main effect from the fourth industrial revolutions on business across industry, which is data enhanced products. The first point, products and services are enhanced with digital capability, meaning that new technology are transforming how business or organizations manage their assets, because products and services are enhanced with digital capability that increase their value. For example, Tesla. Um, it shows how the software update and connectivity can be used to enhance a car or product after purchase rather than let it depreciate over time. Next is that new material not only making asset more durable and resilient, but data and analytics are also transforming the role of maintenance. It is no longer about finding specific fault, but it is about using performance benchmark that can highlight when a piece of equipment is not normally operating. Aircraft, for example, the airline control center know before the pilot do if an engine is developing a fault on a particular plane. So the airline control center instruct the pilot on what to do and mobilize the maintenance crew in advance. Next, in addition to maintenance, it also establishes new business model. For example, SAP as SAP of a company that is leveraging data from physical products embedded in agriculture to increase uptime and utilization. Next, that the ability to predict the performance of an asset also offers new opportunity to price service. For example, truck fleets, it's like for driver that are interested in paying tire manufacturer by 1,000 kilometer abroad rather than periodically buying new tire. And this is because the combinations of sensor and analytics enable tire company to monitor the driver performance, fuel consumptions, and tire wear to offer a complete end-to-end service. Next slide, please. So it will be about the collaborative innovation. Um, Database services and asset performance through analytics require new form of collaboration. However, for firms that are young or they normally lack a specific skill and have lower sensitivity to involve customer needs because of poor capital and lacking rich data. So as the forum collaborative innovations transforming business driving growth report outline that when firms share resources through a collaborative innovation, significant value can be created for both parties as well as for the economies. For example, the collaborative between the industrial giant Simon and ASD. So Simon spent around $4 billion a year in research and development, while ASD is an innovative machine learning company and forum technology pioneer founded at Stanford University in 2008. So this partnership offer Simon access to a partner that can help solve complex challenges of extracting insight from vast data, while ASD can validate its topological data analysis approach with real-world data and to expand market more. Next, however, collaborations require significant investment from both parties to develop firm strategy, search for appropriate partners, establish communication channel, align processes, and respond to changing conditions both inside and outside the partnership. So this is the end of my part, and I would like to give the floor to the next presenter.
So thank you for the floor. So it's about the new operating model. So as the fourth industry revolution have left many impact on the business world, it led the company to search for a new operating model in order to adapt to this situation. And the most important operating model for this new world is the digitalization for business platform that require the consumer centric and the data driven approach. So as we have brought the consumer also the company the easier to access into the data. So this new platform has shifted the focus of many industries from selling the product to delivering service. So for example, the more and more consumer now are buying the stuff from Amazon, and they also listening to the music through the Spotify, which show the trend of the new operating model. So this new transformation also result in the need of company to heavily invest in cyber and also the data security system in order to avoid the data disruption by criminal activists or unintentional failure in the digital infrastructure. And moreover, as the emerging operating model is also progressively moving forward, which means that people have to upgrade themselves to adjust to the new skill requirement in sort of human capital. So next slide, please. So next is about the combining the digital, physical, and also biological world. So this marketplace have approached the progressively erase the long established position of the incumbent and the dismantle of the boundary between the industry. So as the example, the decision that made by Apple and Google to enter into the automotive market show that the tech company now can transform themselves into a car company, which they collaborate. Yes. Also, not all the industry are at the same point of the disruption, but all are being pushed up to the curve of transformation by default uh, driven by the fourth industry revolution. So next slide. So as next is about the environmental renewal and the preservation. So there is a great potential of the restore and regenerate our natural environment through the use of the technology and the intelligent system design. And there are four pathways that have take us there. So first, thanks to the Internet of Things and the intelligent asset that it is now possible to track the material and also the um, engineer flow so as to achieve a huge new efficiency all the way along the value chain. And secondly is the on the democratization of the information and transparency, which now they can give the new power to citizens to hold the company also the country accountable. And thirdly is the new information flow and increasing of transparency that can have safe citizen behavior on a large scale. So as it becomes the path for the less resistance within a new set of business and the social norm for the sustainable system. And lastly is about the new business and organizational model that promise the innovative way of creating and sharing the value. So this means that it now turn lead to the whole system which can um, actively benefit the natural world as well as much as our economy also the society. So move on to the next slide. So as move to the conclusion. So to conclude, this chapter have put the explanation, also the analysis, the impact of the fourth industry revolution on the IO 4.0 to the economy, also the business. And the fourth industry revolution will have impact not only on one region but as a global economy. And Within this presentation, we focus on the critical dimension, which on growth, employment, and the nature of the work. And for the business, mainly, we notify on the consumer expectation, data enhanced product, collaborative innovation, and the new operating model, which focus on the shifting of the digital platform and access of company to operate faster and with the greater agility. So I think that's all for our group, and thank you for paying attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much for group number 1. Let's move to group number 2 so that we can have time for Q&A session. Group number 2.
Hello, Chair. Can you see the slide now?
Yes, I can see the slide.
Okay.
Hello, the Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Today we come from group 2, and we want to present the topic about the impact of the fourth industrial revolution. And this is our team member is Rutiet, Nam, Nang, Koang, me, and Satkon and Sinasa. Let's move to the next slide. This is our content. Most next slide. Yes. Let's start with the impact. The technology revolution showed a huge development in the economy, society, and the culture, which is impossible to imagine in the past. But today, our topic will show about the impact of the fourth industrial revolution in the different sectors, such as the economy, government, business, and so on. And the global economy has a huge effect from the fourth industrial revolution, such as the GDP, the investment, trade, inflation, and they decide to divide to two critical dimensions, which is the growth and the employment. Let's move to the next slide. Let's talk about the growth. The economic impact of the fourth industrial revolution on the growth perspective has divided into two, which one side, they thought that the technology of the digital revolution have come to the highest level on the impact on the productivity, while the other side, they thought that the technology and innovation still not reach the highest point, which is still continue to grow in the future to produce the higher economic growth. It's important if we look at the impact of the fourth industrial revolution on the economic sector when, such as the few years before the financial crisis in 2008, the growth rate has been increased by 5% in every year, which show the positive way that they expect it can help billions of people live out from the poverty in the next 15 years. But after the Great Recession has occurred and the world economy seems to be stuck, and the growth rate is lower than the post-war period, around 3 to 3.5%. But nowadays, there are many factors that can explain the slow in the global growth, such as the aging and the productivity. Let's move to the next slide. About the aging, it's important. Economists expect the world population will grow from 7 billion to 9 billion in 2050, which in this amount, the demand starts to increase due to the growth of the population. But aging has become an issue for the rich country, while the birth rate is starting to fall in many regions, such as in Asia, in Middle East, or the South America, and so on. This shows the biggest challenge on the increase of the old people in the society, and the fall of birth rate lead to the workforce in society fall at the same time. This can lead the purchasing power to decrease, and aging workers don't want to start up the new business, which it leads to have the lower in saving and the lower investment rate. For the productivity, even though it grow in the technology progress and investment innovation productivity around the world still sluggish over the past decade. The negative is the real statistic, and the real statistics are different from the traditional statistic thought. Due to the traditional way, they expect to gain higher functionality and the quality to increase the price. But in the real statistic, due to the zero marginal cost and the highly competitive market through the digital platform, all the results make the productivity become lower price. Let's move to the next slide. And On the other side, they also have the positive way in the productivity for in the fourth industrial revolution. First, the fourth industrial revolution has increased the opportunity to 2 billion people in the global economy and made the connection between the individual and the community around the world. And second is the fourth industrial revolution has boosted the economic growth and increased the ability to get the negative externalities. And third, in the fourth industrial revolution, the business, government, and the civil society have to change their economic and organization structure in order to achieve the efficiency that digital capability delivers. The fourth industrial revolution will benefit the economic growth, but they also have the negative produce the inequality in employment and the labor market. And this is the end of my point. I want to give the floor to the next presenter.
Hello, could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yes, okay. My part is the impact of fourth industrial revolution on employment. Yes, we know that the technology has provided both a positive and negative impact on almost everything, and including employment. And for positive, it argued by the who support the invention of the fourth industrial revolution, that it provides us new goods, service, new job, business and industry. And for example, like the company, Apple company has provided thousands of jobs for people. And for the negative impact, it uh, it may cause the existing job, the existing labor substitution, and it may make people unemployed, or they may shift their job to other part, just like in the US during early 19th century. The agriculture accounted for around 90%, but only recently it less than 2%. So it's shift from agriculture to everything else. And yes, the fourth industrial revolution, it has stronger effect than the previous industrial revolution because of its speed, its it brings up that and the complete transformation of entire system. Yes, please move to the next slide. Please move to the next slide. Yes, the labor substitution. Move back, move back. Please move back to point A. Yes, as we know that the invention of the fourth industrial revolution may cause job, may some job may be automated or replaced by AI, and it also believes that new job will also be created. And the question is whether the job loss or the job created, which one is higher? And here is the example of the job that may be more prone to automation. The first is telemarketer, ranking to the list one is the chorus calling and messengers. Yes, and the list prone to automation, ranging from mental health and substance abuse social workers to chief executive. And this is analyzed by the Carpet Frey and Michael Osborne, University of Oxford in 2013. Please move to the next slide. And technology also have an impact on skill for this job that require socialization skill, creativity skill, and critical thinking skill, and analytical thinking skill. Analytical skills seem to have lower risk job that the job that repetitive, the repeated job. And the scientists or scholars also believe that in the future, the news or content will around 90% will be generated by algorithm or by the computer, without human intervention. And they also predict about the skill demand in 2020. The skill that still has higher demand is the complex problem solving, around 36%. To the lowest is the job that require physical ability skills, only 4%. Please move to the next slide. And yes, then it's when the fourth industrial revolution come, it also question about the gender gap or inequality between male and female. And it seems to believe that it will worsen the gap between male and female, since until now the inequality still around the world still has not acquired full equality for male and female yet. But the fourth industrial is nearly to come, and it will only worsen the gap between male and female. Mostly, it will affect the family that have female as the head. They need to find work, so it may affect them. And the middle income female who have the middle or lower middle job, and especially low skill women, such as women who work in the labor sector. And it also has impact on developing economies, because if the advanced economy, they have invented technology or machine that can replace labor, so the low cost labor may no longer be being attractive to them. They may substitute the human labor to that technology, and it will result that or some other factory that require more labor, they will shift to their own country and produce factory inside their own country, so that it will shift to the situation where winner take all, and the more issue will arise across the country, conflict or tension across the country and also within the country. Yes, since the fourth industrial revolution may create more jobs for people, but those jobs may require more people who have more skills. So what happened to those who have low access to education? So they may confront the problem of losing job or being unemployed. And please move to the next slide. Yes, and next point is the nature of work. Yes, the technology now is more developed than before. We can find jobs through online, and in the future, it also believes that it can change the nature of work from the full-time staff or full-time company to freelancer or employee no longer work as full-time staff, but they work as the freelancer. They can work from everywhere, anytime and anywhere, or work for foreigner only if they have access to internet and those websites, and they will think that it has more freedom, more independent, and no rule can bind them. So it have the same to the employer. They no need to buy insurance for the employee, no need to pay any, or they don't need to worry about the employee behavior. Yes, and however, the challenge is the employee, they won't have labor rights since they act as a freelancer. No rule will protect them, and they will bargaining right will they don't have much to bargain, since it's competitive to find jobs through online, and they may not have a job security for them. Yes, and that's all of my part. Let's move to the next part.
Hello, Chao, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay, so let's move to 3.2, impact to business. So the fourth industrial revolution reduced the lifespan of company in S&P 500 from 60 to 18 years, which means there is an increase in competition because when your company can only stay in the S&P 500 for 18 years, it means there are a lot of competition. As you may see now, there are a lot of increase in entrepreneurship. A lot of entrepreneurs, they are starting their own business to compete with the incumbent business. And it is faster for new businesses to reach $1 billion, such as Facebook and Google. And the fourth industrial revolution, they disrupt business both supply and demand side. And on the supply side, the incumbent and new startup business are battling each other for market dominance. However, the incumbent business, they can leverage on their size, their own customer base, and the funding and their technology to win over the new startup business, or they can buy them over. Like Facebook, they buy Snapchat. Oh, no. Facebook, they buy Instagram. Yeah. And on the demand side, increase in transparency and customer engagement will force companies to adapt how they design and deliver product or services. Example, in internet banking for bank, right now they deliver product or services based on agile. So they give step by step to the customer based on what they need, not give them the whole package. They give them one by one in order to build a package. So any pieces that require issue and bug fixes, they know how to, they will work and fix that, and in order to make a, a whole complete product. And 3.2.1, customer expectation. So customer expectation are redefined into experiences instead of product. So example, the Apple experience, they offer the feeling of coolness and the premium packaging, not the expectation of how the iPhone perform. So when you buy your new iPhone, you will feel like, oh, I am cool. And when you open your new iPhone boxes, you will feel like premium, and the feeling of open it is very happy. But however, iPhone, their their stat, their their hardware is not developed as fast as other Android phone, and product and services are provided based on data from customer with continual refinement. So when you go to Amazon or eBay, you search for a product like iPhone or something, and later on when you go back, you will see they will recommend you another iPhone accessory like iPhone case, iPhone headphone, iPhone AirPod or something. And more digitalization means more transparency. Customers are always comparing product, price of product or services, so business must be competitive. When you buy something online, you always check the price of this product from one website to another. So business must be competitive to be the one with low price and high and good customer service. So that's why, so it will make customer to buy from them again. And 3.2.2, data enhanced product. So data are making products last longer and more efficient. Like Tesla, they give their car software update, and even your phone, you have security software update and other software update to fix bugs and issue on your phone. Business manage their asset based on software management, such as Sensor, SAP, and Oracle. So some business, like they have their own warehouse, they use SAP system to determine how the amount of that product is left, and when it reach the minimum order requirement, they will order from the supplier on their own. And Oracle is focused on AI intelligence based on to help with sales and marketing and to attract customer online. And finally, business shift from supplying one-off product to supplying service or product based on performance. In example, the printer at your office, it sometimes can be you rent from other shop. They get paid based on the amount of paper that you print, not get paid because you buy the printer from them. So businesses, they, instead of selling you a printer, they charge you on how many you print. So it is one way that business shift, because they can monitor of the amount of paper that you can print, so they can charge you on that. And that is all from me.
So moving to my part, the collaborative innovations, and yes, the term collaborative innovation mean that to transforming business and driving growth to the level that could catch up with the fourth industrial revolution. And the book also mentioned that the book also, the firm are sharing resource through collaboration to direct to deliver the product to the customer. For example, you can see that the book also mentioned about two giant company, which is Siemens and ISD. Siemens is projecting in research and development, while ISD is an innovative machine learning company. By collaborate together, Siemens has access to a partner that can help solve conflict or challenges of extracting insight from the vast data, while ISD can use the research and development data of Siemens to validate its topological data analysis approach with the real world data. And moreover, those collaboration could also create another business model, such as a city car sharing scheme in the picture in the slide, which it could bring together the businesses from multiple industries to provide an integrated customer experience. Next slide, please. And in this slide, we are talking about new operating models of businesses in order to survive or thrive to the fourth industrial revolution. The new operation models aims to discover an approach to be more operate faster and with greater agility. And in this diagram, you can see that an approach to operate faster is to be digitalized, and agility come with talentism. Next slide, please. So the important operating model enabled by the network effect of digitalization is the platform. So most of the business model do digitalization through platform that has both profitable and disruptive. And the platform strategy focus on consumer centric, and they do enhance the product with data. For example, people can find millions of digital books with Amazon kind of shop, tons of music with Spotify, and mobility services with Grab, Uber, and more. And in the mean of new operation model, digitalization require all company to invest, have a large invest in their cyber security and data security to avoid any disruption caused by criminal or unintentional failure in digital infrastructure. Next slide, please. The book also mentioned about talentism, which is a significant driver of competitiveness. The term talentism here is refer to the investment you make in other talent to produce capital. And there is also a phrase say that in the world where talent is the dominant form of strategy advantage, the nature of organizational structure will have to be rethought, which means that if one the talent is found, the organizational structure must favor them. To promote them. And flexible hierarchy here is the new way that a company used to measure and rewarding performance. When an employee achieves a record, they usually be promoted to a position in which is satisfactory to their performance. In this practice, flexible hierarchy will retain those talented employees and make progress to their business. And lastly, the agility that the company could make is depending on the motivation and the communication that the employee has. Uh, because these two factors are intrinsically driving the collaborative desire of employee and management for master independent and meaning. This will make the organization structure increasingly organized. Next slide, please. And in this slide, we're talking about the combining the digital, physical, and biological world. In this combination-based business model, there are always disruption happen when the digital asset combined with an existing digital platform and interact with the physical asset. An example to this model, it is Uber. The disruption is happen is when Uber is the collaboration that integrate and improve customer experience by tracking the car location via by a mobile device, and they also describe the car standard, and they also have a smooth payment process that can help avoiding delay at the destination. And competitive advantage to this kind of business is built on a superior experience combined with the reduction transaction or friction cost, which means the more year the company operate, the more experience they have. And when they gain the trust from their customer, they tend to expand their service, and with the trust they have been given by the customer. This means that they have a little risk of bankrupt. And at the end of the day, the digital technology again have created a new destructive way of combining product and service. For example, Apple and Google entered a automotive market with Apple CarPlay, including Bentley, BMW, Audi, and more. And those CarPlay that come up with Google include Honda, Chevrolet, and more. And also in healthcare sector, the digital technology intervention leads to a new robotic surgical machine in which surgeon will only do gestation on the machine, and the machine will operate in human body. Next slide, please. And last but not least, the firm will survive the fourth industrial revolution and the philosophy of always in beta, which means that it is an endless innovation. Even their work is so fine, so that they are competitive over the other firm. And this is it for our presentation.
Thank you very much. Group number 1, number 2, especially for those who try to find other sources to explain to your classmate. Okay, any question from the floor? Beside group number 1 and number 2, you can ask, but group number 3, 4, 5, 6, since you may not have time to read, any question you want to clarify? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, any question you would like to clarify in any class that you are not sure about? I'm not sure whether the way that the book writer when I read, because this is the, how can I say, there's some mistake as well, because we don't download it from a website. In the hardcover book, the reading is just, I mean, the way that the author write is much more easier to understand. Okay, anything you would like to clarify?
Teacher,
Yep.
what is the difference between e-commerce and e-business?
E-commerce, e-commerce, like you see it online on Facebook that you sell everything is online, but e-business is more like more than selling. It moving from like manufacturing or production or some the whole business that involved in digitalization in technology. Put it into place like that. E-commerce is just one part, like in the selling, dealing with the selling or with the customer, something like that. But e-business is the whole process of business. Not really the whole, I mean, most part of the business is connected to technology. So let's say e-business is one part, e-commerce is one part of e-business. You get it, Chimay?
So is it like the e-business is like the enterprise who try to reshore their production into digital form, right, teacher?
Yep, you can say that.
Okay, teacher, I got it. Thank you, teacher.
One more thing is if you can see that e-commerce, but if we talk about the e-commerce platform on, meaning that it's if e-commerce it perform online commercial activity like selling product, like I have mentioned. And another one we can for e-business because on commercial transaction and other service and other things like you have mentioned that it try to involve business in digital technology. That is thing. Okay. Anyone would like to clarify any point? Okay. If not, next week is group number 3 and number 4, right? You would like to do it in the first session or second session? Because in the first session, I don't know whether you come on time or not, but if you would like to move to second session, that's fine. But if you would like to do it in the first session, I'm okay with that as well. I mean, it's all up to you to make it easier because nowadays, you know, life is hard. Okay. Okay. For the next, let me check next session. What we about the impact of IE410 to national and global society and the individual. Okay, so next week group number 3, group number 4, to the same book. And right now national and global society and the individual. It's just like if you are group number 1, group number 2, they like to read like 60 pages, right? But actually the main concept when you read it, it does not that much. I mean, how can I say, the volume that much, but actually it's not that. I mean, you don't need to spend a lot of time to read it. Okay, any more questions for the class?
Teacher, if it starts at 6, maybe we can go in the first session, teacher.
You mean you would like to, okay, presentation in the first session?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, I'm fine. It depends on you guys because I know that some of you work, so it may sometimes some kind of delay. It's just anything, just take on a Telegram. That's fine. Okay, so next week, group number 3, group number 4, we do it on the first session. Okay, any more questions?
Like I have a question.
Yes.
Can you clarify again about which topic that both of us are going to work on?
Yep, I will text you in the Telegram, and it also have in the course outline as well. In big Word document, but I will text you in Telegram again after class, so you should not be worried by that. Okay, then I need.
Yes, thank you. Like.
Okay. By the way, if during your reading Saturday or Sunday or when you do the presentation slide, you feel that you are not clear with which point, you are free to text me. Okay. Okay. Any more questions? Yep. Anyone would like to say something? If okay, it's now 8:40 already. Okay, any more question? If you don't, we can okay, say we can close now and enjoy your dinner and everything. And I will take for the group number 2 or 3 and 4 for the topic. Thank you very much. If you guys feel shy or you just some question just come out, you can send me with Telegram. Thank you.
Goodbye, teacher.
Okay, goodbye everyone.